Welcome to Empowered by Illness, a podcast about living with genetic disorders. Episode 7, Careless with Yourself. Caring for yourself or self-care, I think we confuse the two, unfortunately. Self-care these days is promoted as bubble baths and running errands. Don't get me wrong, getting a good pedicure is definitely self-care, but there's so much more to caring for oneself. When we confuse self-care, we start to think it's all material, when in reality, digging down deep to the issue of needing the self-care in the first place is necessary. Maybe you had bad flares that week and couldn't get out of bed. Getting meditation in while laying in bed is self-care. Or maybe you are already in burnout mode because of the mental load you carry. Sitting in the car listening to music, sometimes while crying, can be a relief even for a moment. I know when I have a bad flare, I don't want to do anything. But reminding myself it is necessary to care for me, even if it's just a 5-minute meditation, then I go back to binge watching Gilmore Girls. Stop for 1 minute while listening to this. Take a deep breath. Then ask yourself, what do I truly need? This is a question in our busy lives that we forget to ask ourselves. This is the depth of self-care. Searching our minds on a higher level to find what we are truly missing. Self-care for me is an escape. This sounds counterproductive, but bear with me. I cannot solve all of our day-to-day problems. My son has a severe stomach ache that affects his whole body. This is common, unfortunately, and I cannot fix this. I tend to internalize these feelings and feel frustrated, weak, and angry. I cannot get rid of his pain. This takes me mentally to a place that is uncontrollable. So when I use self-care, sometimes it is to escape. Cooking dinner with music playing is one of my self-care coping mechanisms. You will find that I use music as a coping tool. I will speak about it a lot. This is healthy because I can remove my body as well as my mind from the situation and concentrate on something I can control. For example, how high the temperature is in the pan, how many onions I put in, how much seasonings I put into the dish, etc. This helps to regulate my mind to realize I can only control the tangible. In turn, helps me to be calmer in these situations. This is true self-care. Remembering to speak nicely to myself is definitely self-care I need to work on. I am the worst at this. When my body doesn't do what I need it to, I can't grip my drink or a subluxation in my shoulder, I have a tendency to lash out at my body by calling it stupid. Yes, a 38-year-old woman calling her body stupid out loud. This is negative self-care or being careless with oneself. Notice what I did there? This is a habit I noticed a while back when my children started doing it themselves. No one is lying when they say children emulate the people they love. I realized when my daughter's knee would sublux or my son couldn't feel his fingers, they would do the same. Call out loud that their bodies were stupid. I could smack myself on the forehead. Why would I allow them to do this? I wouldn't. That's exactly when I realized I cannot do this either. I've also realized when I'm not caring for myself properly, I tend to start to disassociate from situations. My daughter has been practically bedridden for the past few months, and I've noticed I am checking out mentally. This is when therapy or a friend can come into play, since connection to caring for myself can be harder when I get wrapped up in only caring for others. Taking things down from the shelf and analyzing what I can do to feel better needs to come from an outside source at this point. An observation of things from someone who's not in the trenches per se. I recently have also started taking 15 minutes, put on sad music that speaks to me, and grieving for those 15 minutes. This has helped me in ways I didn't know would. Maybe it's grieving for our past lives, the fact that my daughter is getting worse and can't be 15. That for 5 months we fought for treatment for my son and finally found an angel to help. The list of reasons to feel deep feelings can differ from day to day, week to week. but I can always find things to feel deeply about. Once my timer goes off, I go back to the things I need to get back to and feel a little lighter in doing so. Side note, I actually found this exercise on a TV show called Shrinking. So definitely not medically sound, but has given me solace in a way I didn't know existed. Sometimes we find expression in the places we least suspect. It is a work in progress, and sometimes I have to force myself to care for me or use self-care, to not be careless with my body as well as my mind. I encourage you to find your self-care, the real true kind that opens doors and frees you even if for 5 minutes. If you can teach yourself to be careful with you, you can truly be content when you need it the most. Don't get caught up in the promotion of materialistic version so that you can find out what truly cleanses your soul. Until next time, be good to others, but more importantly, good to yourself. When subscribing to Empowered by Illness, you are not only spreading awareness of genetic disorders and chronic illness, but helping our family with medical bills and everyday necessities. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for subscribing to Empowered by Illness.